Let's all get started over here, guys. Come on in. Don't be afraid of me. I don't bite. So at this time, I'm going to call the Montclair City Council meeting to order. Welcome to the City Council. This evening, I'd like to adjourn this meeting in the memory of all those who have died, families suffering, or obviously those who have been held hostage as a result of this very dangerous crisis and that has taken place in Israel. We'll also remember those also in Gaza. This is not just one group of people, but all the innocent people who are now suffering. So we will adjourn the memory for those folks. I also want to recognize Allison. Allison, thank you for being here today. Allison was our deputy city clerk, and then she left us. She's a city clerk now, City of San Marino. So she's filling for our city clerk, who happens to be in Japan for her honeymoon. I think 2 years after her marriage.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Great. So let's do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And Allison, if you'd like to announce those folks, please.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Lance Ire, and the pledge will be led by Councilmember Martinez.
Great. Please stand.
I thank you for the privilege of being here this evening and sharing the invocation, and for you guys keeping this tradition. It may seem small, but it's a very important part, I believe. I thank and praise God for each and every one of you on the council and our police and fire personnel and all who serve people of this great community. I pray for you all often. Tonight, I ask God to provide you with courage and compassion, wisdom and discernment, so that you can guide, protect, and serve the people of Montclair. Leading as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, leading and serving with integrity, good morals and ethics, being an example of good citizenship, with all the trials and tribulations here in our town, but throughout the world, as was mentioned a moment ago, of the hard times today. It's a long list. I pray we can be united, whatever our heritage or creed, as one race, the human race, on this one world. I pray we can care, support, and love one another, first of all here in Montclair, making it a place of hope. May God continue to use you and bless you in your roles of leadership and administration and service. And may God continue to bless Montclair. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sometimes I have a slip of the tongue. I want to make sure I say this correctly. We're going to adjourn this meeting in the memory of all the innocent people who have died in Israel and also in Gaza. So with that, we'll have roll call.
Councilmember Lopez.
I'm here.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Rue.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Mayor Dutray.
So next item is public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the council. You have 5 minutes. If you're in the audience, you fill out a blue card. If you're on Zoom, you'll hit the request to speak on Zoom. If you're on the phone, you hit *9. Allison, do you see any speakers?
Yes, so we do have a few speakers. 2 of them are in person, and it looks like we have 1 online.
Okay. All right, we'll start with the speakers in person then.
Okay, so the first speaker tonight will be Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
Hi, my name is Kathy Cimbalo, and I'm representing CASA of San Bernardino County, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. Our organization recruits and trains volunteers and then matches them with children in the foster care system to mentor and advocate for them in the system. San Bernardino County now has 10,000 children in foster care. And I spent my career in children's services, and when I retired as the director of the department, there were only 5,000 children in foster care. So given our job was to have no children in foster care, this is not going in the right direction. And we've got about 350 kids waiting for a volunteer to be trained and certified to help them. And I just know that having spent my career in children's services, that the single greatest resource we can provide for a child is a stable, consistent adult in their lives. And that's what CASA does for them. So I'm here to invite you to be a volunteer if you'd like to. But if not, we'd like to invite you to our casino night, which is one of our annual fundraiser in Upland on November 2nd at the Upland Country Club. And I've left flyers for all of you. So thank you for your time. And whoever's responsible for lighting up the stop signs in Montclair, I thank you. It's a terrific idea.
Well, thank you very much, and God bless you for doing this, because I know there's a lot of needy children, and thank you for doing this, and all the volunteers are doing this, and we'll try to attend this as well. Thank you. Okay.
The next in-person speaker is going to be Nina.
Nina, your first council meeting.
Yes. Hello.
I promise to be nice to you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Neha Upadhyay. I'm coming from the office of Senator Rubio. I just wanted to come here to first introduce myself. I'm the new district representative that will be representing the cities of Ontario and Montclair. And so if there's anything I can be a resource for to connect you with the Senate office, please feel free to reach out. I brought my business cards if you'd like to contact us directly. And I also want to make another announcement. Our office is also hosting a seminar called Senior Scam Stopper. This is an event geared towards helping and assisting seniors with trying to avoid getting involved in those scams. And I also have flyers for that event as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Welcome to Montclair, and also I believe you have an office in Ontario as well on Mount Avenue. Thank you. Okay, and I guess we have one more speaker on Zoom.
It actually looks like we have two. The first one will be Vince.
Vince, all right. Hello, Vince, how you doing? You there, Vince? Doesn't seem like Vince is
It
there.
looks like he's muted. Let's give him one.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Vince, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Go ahead.
All right, sweet. First off, hello. My name is Vince. I work in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles, but a year and a half ago, I had to move back into my childhood home due to some complicated health issues that I'm resolving. This is my third city council meeting, one in person, two virtual. First off, I want to thank everyone for their time and the work that they do for the city of Montclair. Let's see. I have one concern and two questions. Firstly, I'd like to say that I'm a little skeptic about the CCE implementation. It seems like another unnecessary middleman service that could potentially add more service fees for residents. The same certainty when discussing profits wasn't present when discussing low rates. Phrases like "I believe" or "for the most part" were used when discussing lower rates. Like Johnson, I'd also like to see the data regarding rates. Okay, secondly, so a few weeks ago, Councilmember Lopez brought up some concerns residents were having with Monte Vista Avenue. I'd like to thank Councilmember Lopez for being a voice for the people of Montclair. I live on Monte Vista Avenue, and my mother and I have noticed that there's a lot more accidents now. There's a lot more traffic now as well. I see big trailers driving up and down Monte Vista now. A few weeks ago, our mayor made a reactive statement to council members Lopez regarding Monte Vista Avenue. He said the reason for the accidents are because people are driving without licenses. I find the comment a bit absurd, and it completely overlooks the influx of people moving inland from Los Angeles County, the industrialization of Montclair, the economic growth of Montclair. There's 3 schools on Monte Vista Avenue. My questions: are trailers legally allowed in residential areas in Montclair? And question 2, what is the city of Montclair doing to combat pollution caused by the economic growth of the city of Montclair, specifically on Monte Vista Avenue and in Montclair?
Okay, appreciate your time, thank you. Okay, we have any other speakers?
Yes, the next speaker is going to be Ruby Long.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, Ruby.
Hi. So once again, I'm Ruby Long with the 4th District County Supervisor Kurt Hagman's office. And I just have a quick announcement. I wanted to announce an event that we're having next month, November 8th, and it's our annually Veterans Claims event. It's a free event where we have the county veteran service officers go to our office in Chino Hills. That's where it's held, in the district office. And they will answer any questions about existing claims. They'll conduct benefit assessment interviews, complete claim forms and paperwork. They'll issue a San Bernardino County Military Veterans ID card. And we do request that you please bring your DD form 214. All the services provided will be free of charge. And we will also have a lunch provided, also free. It's going to be once again at our district office, and that is 14010 City Center Drive in Chino Hills. And you can go on our website if you'd like to go on there and pre-register, which we do prefer that you do. And like that, you can have a slot definitely held for you. It does get pretty busy. So we definitely want to make sure that we have enough, want to get you in and get all your paperwork taken care of. So hopefully that, like I said, it's November 8th and it's a great event. We always have a really good turnout. And yeah, that was it. Have a good evening.
Great, thank you very much. City Attorney, question for you. There was a gentleman who asked questions to City Council. Don't believe the council can answer the questions, that's not on the agenda. Am I correct, City Attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes you can do a brief response, but you
Right.
can't, have a
I
lengthy
suspect
discussion.
the questions I was received sound pretty comprehensive, pretty long. So I would suggest, Vince, if you're online, if you want to send an email to myself or the city manager, and we'll try to give you a response to your questions. But I believe the questions he had were not simple responses, in my opinion. So, okay, so we will move on to consent calendar items. And I'll start with my right. Any items to be pulled?
Mr. Mayor, for purposes of one question, item B like boy 10, and
Okay.
a comment C1.
C1. All right. How about my left? Anybody pulling something on the left? No?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was planning on pulling C1 as well.
Okay. So let's start with B10. Go ahead.
In the staff report, there's a line that says this project was awarded to Hyper Electric on July 18, 2023, in the amount of $154,350 for the installation of the dual electric vehicle chargers at City Hall. In the fiscal impact paragraph of the report, it states the total construction cost for this project was $119,660.50. The project is funded by grant funds under AB 2766, AQMD Clean Transportation Funding. And it says that we were awarded $80,000 for the design and installation of the stations. I was just confused, and my question is this. It looks like the final cost of the project was under budget than what we had allocated, but the $80,000 was for design, which happens before installation, and it also covered some of the installation?
Yes, it was for design and installation charges.
And then the amount that was not expended, take it, is returned back to the general fund?
No, that money would stay within the AB 2766 funds.
Okay, that's where that's it. I got the clarification I needed. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So now we have C1. Who wants to lead off on C1? Denise, how about you?
Yes, I will. It's quick. Because of my relationship with operations management with the chamber, I need to recuse myself from this item.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else, Ben?
I just want to make a comment about this. I'm pleased to see that the Montclair Chamber of Commerce is moving from its present location on Benson Avenue north of Arrow and is going to be located at the corner, the southwest corner. Do I have that right? Southwest corner? Thank you. Of Benito and Central. It's great to see that the chamber will be in a much more visible location to the public, and as opposed to being on Benson, where a lot of folks couldn't find it in an industrial complex. I remember the days when the chamber used to be just the corner north of it, on the northwest corner in the complex there, where the Dr. Kai currently, I believe, occupies that space. So I just want to say this is a great idea. I wonder, though, if this is going to be enough room for you guys. I see the layout in the packet shows you're sharing the space. So I'm hoping it's adequate space, because if not, you may have to expand and have another good problem of having to find a bigger location. But in the meantime, there's a lot of history with the house there on the corner. I remember Margaret Grayson and Peggy Robbins had a great hand in that location and the history there. So it's good to see that an entity like the chamber is utilizing the space. So thank you.
And as you probably know, the house is called the Peggy Robbins House. Yes, so.
Because of her.
Okay, so if there's no more comments on consent calendar, can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the consent calendar be adopted as presented.
I will second.
If you'd like to have a separate vote, we can do a separate vote. Okay, so then with exception of item C1, let's have an electronic vote. Again, this is exception to item C1. Okay, that's adopted 5-0. Now regarding move for approval on item C1, can I get a second?
Mr. Mayor, I will second that.
Second by Rue, and let's have a vote on that one, noting that Mayor Pro Tem Johnson's recusing herself on this item. Okay. That's adopted 4-0. Okay, I'm sorry? Well, you're absent. You're technically not participating in this vote. So, under communications, city attorney has, I don't believe you have any items. City manager?
No items.
Okay. I have no items. Councilmember Rue?
Very few. I will keep it short. I want to note the passing of a 50-year Montclair resident, Barbara Lou Ness. She also worked 18 years at Montclair Hospital, and she passed away recently and pretty much left her employment with Montclair Hospital to care for her husband. So we wish her family condolences. We live in a two-county region. I like to think of that anyway. And we are filled with many wonderful colleges. We should realize that other than metropolitan Boston, this area has more colleges per capita than we're second only to metropolitan Boston. I say that because I had a very distinct honor on Friday last. My alma mater, the University of Laverne, number 65 in the nation for academic achievement or learning, had the inauguration of their new president, Dr. Pardis Mahdavi. I was chosen to be one of 20 academic delegates. And it was a distinct honor for me because, as many of you know, my family, we really struggled. And just to finish high school was going to be something. And all 5 of us finished high school. All 5 of us went on to college. I was the first to go to college at the University of Laverne. And I thank them every day for their ability to make sure that I had the support necessary to continue my 4-year education. I also walked in with right next to our wonderful senator and a longtime friend of mine, Senator Susan Rubio. It was a wonderful event, and I talked to Dr. Mahdavi, and she knows that students do attend University of Laverne from Montclair, so that was a really positive sign for me. And she and I are going to get together the next few weeks and sit down and just talk about different things. And then lastly, as has been said tonight by Pastor Lance, by Mayor Dutre, I think all of us have our thoughts with those in the Middle East tonight. And from my perspective, God doesn't play favorites. We're all his children. He's not rooting for one side or another. These are human beings, and especially little children. I find it sad when American politicians are trying to pick sides and decide who will or will not be allowed in as a refugee. Children are dying and starving, whether they're Israelis, whether they're Hamas, whether they're Palestinians, whether they're something else. And that's the tragedy. And in my belief system, I don't think that we as individuals should be picking sides. We should look at these families and understand that they're suffering. They need our support in any way we can. And for those of you who are in a faith or prayer-based community, they certainly do need our prayers. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would respectfully request, if we could, that we also adjourn tonight's council meeting in memory of former Rancho Cucamonga Mayor Donald Kurth, who passed away on October 4th. Don, I knew him before he was elected mayor, and of course I knew him while he was mayor. And one thing about Don, if you know about him, before he got elected and before what prompted him to go into his profession of being a doctor is he suffered with some demons and addictions of his own. And he turned his life around and made a 180-degree, 360-degree turn for the better. But while even as mayor, he maintained his medical clinics and his therapy business to give back and help those that needed the extra help and leg and foundation to turn their lives around and leave lives of addiction and get redeemed in a sense of renewal and redemption into society. That he should be most known for, not necessarily his accomplishments for moving Rancho Cucamonga forward, and he did, and they were great, but he should be remembered for what he did on the human level. He definitely believed in an endearing quality in each and every individual that was more important than a title or position. So to the Kurth family, my prayers go with you. May God's comfort and peace that passes all understanding engulf you at this time. And I know that for those that are interested, there will be a service October 21st at 11 a.m. at Abundant Living Family Church in Rancho Cucamonga for the mayor and to give comfort to his family. So if we could adjourn in memory and then also send a certificate stating as such to his family, that'd be appreciated.
Councilmember, I believe in the obituary it says where to send them to. It does.
Oh, I believe so, yes. I attended on October 5th the ribbon cutting, and I don't want to say the grand opening because well, let me back up. Said Cocina is now one of the newest Mexican restaurants in Montclair. It's located on the corner or in the shopping center of Moreno and Vernon Avenue. It is where Rhino Records is now, and it used to be called Cinnamon Cafe. It might have a different name, but the same family owns it and has kept the tradition of serving good food to good residents and good people. So I would encourage, if you want to stop by for breakfast or lunch, Monica was giving some good recommendations on some food off the menu, so I have to go and take her up on that, on those recs, and stop by and try them out once again. But Said Cocina, please visit them on the corner of Monte Vista and Vernon. They'd love to have you, and we welcome them, and I wish them much success and longevity here in Montclair. On October 13th, Friday the 13th, was Montclair High School's homecoming game. At that game, they honored the 1966 homecoming queen, and I forgot her name, I apologize, but her and her family were there, and that was quite the honor. I'm sure she was thrilled about that. Everybody was very thrilled to have a long-tenured alum from the high school back and being recognized. 11 seniors were recognized that night who will be leaving the team. And while we wish them the best, there's a little bit of nervousness that 11 players leaving our team might kind of set us back next season if they can't be replaced with some equally talented skill on the field. So I hope we can find a way to bring up some freshmen or sophomores or juniors on the team and make up for the good talent that we will be losing. Unfortunately, Baldwin Park beat us that night. I was working the snack bar with the parents and some of the kids. I didn't get the final score, but since they lost, does it matter? They lost. I didn't want to pay attention to the score. Apparently, it was not pleasing. So, but we had a good time and fun in the snack bar and selling food. And of course, I do want to add to some of the comments about the conflict going on in Gaza and Israel. I have made it a rule of mine not to comment on national issues or topics because they don't tend to relate to the city of Montclair. If there's a relation to an issue that has a Montclair connection, I think that's warrants perhaps my comment. But anything externally on the national level, I don't think it's my position in this seat. I don't think the people of Montclair elected me to opine on national politics, but I'm going to break my rule this one time. A little frustrating, as I shared, and thank you, colleagues, about 2 meetings ago, we adopted an anti-Semitic, anti-hate resolution at the request of the Jewish Federation that was asking for cities to come out with a resolution against hate and specifically anti-Semitism, and we did just that. And I believe we were the 21st city to do so in the region, and including those of our nearest neighbors. But I'm bothered by some of the comments being stated out there and by what is being portrayed in the media. Contrary to what is now being propagated on media outlets to cast doubt on Israel's right to defend itself, there is not an Israeli occupation of Arabs in Gaza. There is no colonization of Gaza. In 2005, 18 years ago, Israel moved its citizens out of their homes in Gaza as part of an agreement, and some of them were forcibly moved by their own government. Israel returned all the land to Arab Palestinians for them to live freely. However, in 2006, the terrorist group Hamas took over the land, that is Gaza. But in 2007, the Arab people of Gaza set up for themselves a government run by Hamas. They have elected a terrorist organization to be the head of their government. Since then, Hamas has instituted draconian restrictions on women, amongst others. Severe penalties for crimes include cutting off of hands and limbs, hangings, and death. And they have murdered Jews in Gaza and denied them fair public trials. Hamas is a terrorist organization that is defined as such by the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, the European Union, and 35 other countries. Contrary to their lies promulgated by their leaders and sympathizers on college campuses and the media today, Hamas is anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist. Their quote, "The day of judgment will come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Then the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will cry out, 'O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him.'" This is Hamas's covenant, and the page is Article 7 of that covenant. Their goal is not just the elimination of Israel, but the elimination of all Jews everywhere, a goal Hitler failed to accomplish. FBI and numerous statistics from law enforcement agencies have consistently reported that hate crimes against Jews remain at the top of reported crimes in this country. Let it be known that since the 1940s and 50s, Israel has been one of the most peaceful places in the world, and in some respects, more peaceful than the United States, where 3 major populations largely defined by their religious affiliation, faith, and heritage, Jews, Muslims, and Christians, have lived side by side, conducted commerce amongst themselves, voted in Israeli elections, used the same highways and byways, and they've lived in peace. That is, until it was attacked on October 7th, unprovoked. There's been comments stated by some that if only the Arabs and those in Gaza would get their own homeland and at least be allowed refuge in other countries. It is of note, they have requested refuge in other Arab nations around them. Every single Arab nation has denied them entry. They can point the nation of Egypt just recently, reluctantly has allowed for them to escape their southern border. Prior to pressure, just a matter of 2 days ago, they were not allowing them to flee, and that is a danger. Even one of Hamas's leaders had stated, former leader of Hamas, that they refuse to let their innocent civilians leave because they use them as shields, and that's disgraceful. May God protect and be with the Jewish nation of Israel, its army, its leaders, its people, and all Jews throughout the world. And may God safely protect and have rescued all those taken hostage. And what was announced today, our Department of Defense has agreed that they would allow for U.S. military personnel to be entered into the conflict should Israel need it for medical needs and humanitarian aid first. If we should get engaged in this conflict, may God have his hand on all the American soldiers that may find themselves overseas. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just two quick things. One, I need to say that it really hurts my heart to see what's happening in Israel. I was there several months ago, and I was so impressed by the graciousness and kindness of the Israeli people. And for them to have to be going through this, it causes me pain, and I hope this conflict ends quickly. The second thing that I want to talk about is our children here in Montclair. You know, there's a saying that we've all heard the song that the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Well, I want to talk to you about an initiative at Montclair High School. It's called the Ready to Launch Initiative. This is the second year that they're doing it. Last year, there were 778 students who went through this program. And what it is the students are being trained on how to be employees. That's one thing. The other thing is they're being taught on how to get into college and what they need to do. But last year, when I saw those students, I went into the gymnasium and I was looking for students, and when I looked around, I didn't see anybody who looked like a student, but I saw over 700 people who looked like young executives. I was very, very proud of them. And so that Launch to Initiative program is starting again this year. So on Wednesday, November 8th, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m., the school is looking for volunteers to come and sit and interview students. So whatever your profession is, they will pair that student with your profession, and a student will come and sit before you. They have their resume, their cover letter, their application, their grade, their report card, so that you can see what their GPA is, and you have an opportunity to talk to them to help guide them to whatever they want to be. So if they want to be in healthcare, or if they want to be in public, if they want to be a police officer or a firefighter, whatever, or if they want to be an attorney, whatever your profession is, there's an opportunity to talk to students about that and help guide them to the way so that they are going to be ready to launch, hence the Ready to Launch initiative. Again, that is on Wednesday, November the 8th at Montclair High School from 8 until 1. So I hope some or all of you can join us there.
You send us an email.
I will. I'll send you
That's probably the best. Yeah.
I'll forward you the letter that they sent, and there's a QR code and you can register.
There you
So
go.
I'll send it to all of you.
Perfect.
You have to be there from 8 to 1, or can you be there in small segments?
I believe you can be there in small. They prefer everybody to be there the whole time, but our time is what's available. So you can probably be there in small sections. I'll double check with Jeanette Hernandez,
Okay.
who's running part of the program. She's the new Lori Jepson.
Right.
So, but I'll get the information to all of you
Okay.
so that you can register.
Great.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Okay, finally, Councilmember Martinez.
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Nothing to say? A massacre took place in Israel a couple of weeks ago. We know that. I don't have to explain that. I think we all know that in the room here. And, part of this whole issue in Israel and the Palestine has always been the two-state solution. And obviously it hasn't worked out well as well. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that it is so important that we have peace in this world and that people of different nationalities and religion all get along. Recently, you probably heard in the city of Claremont last week, city council meeting, about 10 individuals, probably don't even live in California, called in the Zoom meeting, and it was pretty racist. It was definitely anti-Jewish. I heard the comments. It was also anti-African American. There was certain words used there. And then you probably heard about a child in Illinois where the landlord killed the child and stabbed the mother because they were Muslim. And so this country, I think for the most part, we have we do have a history, but this country, especially in the last 50 years, has kind of learned how to get along with everybody. I'm hoping we can continue on. I'm hoping this episode in the Middle East doesn't turn this country into racial divide. And as far as the Middle East, it's pretty serious, it's obvious Israel is going to invade Gaza or go into Gaza. I won't say invade Gaza. And yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization. But it could lead to greater wars in the Middle East. You all know about Iran, and you also know what's going on in southern Lebanon as well. It's not a Montclair issue, but it affects Montclair because we have men and women in our military services that may have to go to the Middle East. And we, of course, have taxpayers because Congress will be asked to allocate more money to support not just Israel, but to support the situation in the Middle East. And obviously, the United States is going to be there because we're going to do everything we can to make it as humane for the people in Gaza, obviously the people in Israel, and try to find a solution to minimize the negative impact that this can have, not just in the Middle East, but obviously here in the United States. I have that confidence with our administration and with our new speaker to be. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.